listening to you sing. We need to have a singing Sunday. We need to, you know, we need to get songs that people know, and they can be old songs or new songs. Sometimes the songs that we have are wonderful to listen to, but very difficult to sing to if it's a performance song. That makes, like, you've got a great voice. You can probably, you know, do almost any song up there. I'm like a train wreck trying to follow something because I whatever somebody's singing next to me, that's what I start singing. And I sing by ear, and that's not good. If you've ever heard me, you'll know that. But I would love for us to do more singing. In the day, I used to take a lot of kids all over the country doing youth and family ministry. In fact, I did youth and family ministry for 22 years. That's a long time. That's a lot of kids hauled all over the planet. One of the places that we went was Raccoon Mountain. Anybody?
Such a place exists?
Yes, and you want to guess where?
Tennessee?
Correct. We have a winner here. Do you want to be more specific? Where would you find Raccoon Mountain in Tennessee?
Appalachia.
Nashville?
No, that'd be way too simple. Chattanooga. Just on the other side of Chattanooga, there is something that we would certainly call a mountain, and you can go on something called the Wild Cave Tour.
Wow.
And it is terrifying. If you are claustrophobic, that is not what you want to do. And you have to basically bring clothes that you're going to dispose of. Because so many of the ruts and places that you're going are formed by water. And if it's the rainy season, you can't go because it's all underwater, which is terrifying. The thought of climbing around in a cave that at any time could flood. And I've told you stories of taking my son caving and, you know, having to do the certain things to make sure we didn't end up somewhere else underwater in Tennessee somewhere in an underground river. This is a moment where it's just a lot of spelunking. It's a lot of rock climbing. It's a lot of navigating through. And I can tell you all the stories, but we don't have time of the claustrophobic moments, but there is one. And it's one room that's not maybe half the size of this, that has various and sundry formations that were done by all the water that has passed through, stalactites, stalagmites, and it was very, very, I think, very interesting to see it all. But I was like, why did you bring this here? Because there's a few features you may want to try to go through, like little cracks in the wall to see if you can fit through. Or if you wanted to just take pictures, if you wanted to sing, sometimes we could turn our lights out pitch black, but there was one spot. The guide said, do you want to do this? I said, that is a hole. What am I supposed to do with that? He said, it's called the birth canal. Okay. If you want, you can stick your head in there, and it's like being born again. Because you will go down, and there is this elbow dip that you'll come out on the other side in another room in the cave. Okay, so I thought it seemed like a good idea, so I stick my head in there, and let me tell you what, I don't fit. But I saw people larger than me that did this, and I could hear voices on the other side. And they said, well, this is going to be, you're a little wide of shoulder. I need you to lift one arm up and go in this way like this. It's going to take your shoulders and turn them at this angle, which is going to make you a little thinner, and you're just going to slide right through there. I did not slide right through there. They're going to have to call a geologist for a rock C-section to get me out of this thing. Because there's just feet sticking up, going back and forth, and I'm like, I'm not moving. And they're pushing, and there needed to be somebody on the other side with giant forceps to just pull me out of there. I was stuck. And I knew it was my shoulders. And I'm trying everything I can to bend and twist to get through where I need to get through. And I feel somebody on the other side, I feel a hand. And they say, this may hurt a little, but we're going to give you a tug. They did. And I made it through. It was never an option to stay there. Do you understand what I'm saying? I couldn't go, nah, I'm good. Just bring me food. Put on some diapers, bring me some food, I'll be fine. I'm going to live here now. Have you ever been stuck? Well, you can just end the sermon right there. If you need to leave, you can just write your own sermon on that, and we're done for the day. You know, near the mall, how many of you have been here long enough to remember the giant maze near the mall? Oh, anybody? Teresa, do you remember when the maze was near the mall?
I don't.
You,
Apparently,
because it would pass your
apparently I
thinking.
never went to it.
It was called the Giant Maze. And right next to the mall, to the right of it, was like an amusement center. They had like go-karts, and then they had the Giant Maze. Anybody remember this at all?
That's the old mall. The old mall.
They
not
took
the
it
mall.
No. It was right next to the Volusia Mall.
New Bob Evans?
Huh?
I remember the go-kart.
Yes, it looked like a small castle.
Ah, yes, the go-kart. It's near, was where Bob Evans was. It's in that area.
Well, yes, that's a different one.
But there's a Taco Bell on the road, and then there's a
Now you
7-Eleven.
made me hungry. I hope
And
you're
then the race thing was on the backside.
Yes, it's in that general area. That was a
Yes.
different kind of an attempted amusement.
And he's
And there
right.
is something about mazes. If you've ever been a kid and you've ever gone in through the mirror maze at the Carmen the Fair just went on, maybe you got to go and have deep fried candy bars or whatever they're doing it there. But if you've ever been in a maze, you know what it is to be stuck. Some friends went to Europe, and there is a castle still standing after all these hundreds of years with a maze garden that they have replanted. And he tells the story of going through the maze, and he has a photograph of all of his family up in a tower that's in the center of the maze.
You can watch.
And I said, I don't see you. He goes, I took the picture. Oh, why are you taking the picture? Because I couldn't find my way to the tower. So I'm now stuck down there while they're at the tower. Being stuck, whether it's in the hedges or in the rocks, it's not pleasant. But I have to tell you that despite what you may have told yourself, it's not an option to stay there. The maze near the mall is gone. Time has taken it away. I assure you those are not the same shrubs from 400 years ago at the maze garden in Europe. Listen carefully. John chapter 5. Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for the feast of the Jews. Now there is in Jerusalem near the sheep gate a pool which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Here a great number of disabled people used to lie. It's the blind, it's the lame, it's the paralyzed. They're lying there. Isn't this a miraculous pool? Hello? Isn't it? So why are they lying there? There's not any power in the water. You think it gets a lot of traffic? Oh yeah. So what do you think those people are doing there?
Wishing?
What's that?
Wishing?
Wishing? Yeah, I think some people are coming. But what happens when you wish day in and day out and it doesn't change? What do you think those people that continue to gather who are infirmed, why do they keep coming? Maybe the Lord to answer them? That's a very spiritual answer, and that would be great. I think probably some are. We're going to talk about this guy for a moment. One of them had been an invalid for 38 years, and when Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in that condition such a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" Is that an odd question to you? My dear cousin back there is dealing with a sciatic nerve. Do you want it to get better?
Gosh, yes.
Is that like a silly question now? I messed up my knee because I have a variety of injuries. It's just every single day there's a new opportunity for me to injure myself. I messed up my knee like back in March, just now getting some relief. The doctor never asked me, do you want it to get better? The assumption is, yes. Have you ever had a toothache and went, I think I'll keep it that way? No, you will not. You've never had a stomach ache that you said, I would like for my life to be like this for the rest of my days. You want it to be better. So it seems like an odd question, doesn't it? Do you want to get well? And then I thought about it. Because listen to what the man says. Sir, the invalid replied, I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. Because apparently that's when something happens, when the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down and ahead of me. What's wrong with that story? Anybody?
Self-pity.
There's some self-pity there. Yeah, I think there is some. Very observant. What else?
Some blaming.
Some blaming? I'll take that.
Who got him to that?
How did
place
you
in the
get
first-
there?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, how long has this been going on?
and they couldn't take his.
How long?
38 years.
38.
I'm glad Jesus is doing the story. Because if you and I had showed up, we got some questions. Are you telling me that you managed to get here 38 years ago and not once you've been able to get in the water? You haven't been able in 38 years, nearly 4 decades, to find somebody to haul you into the water.
Didn't he ask anybody?
I'm going to take a best guess. I'm reading between the lines. What were a lot of folks known to do at places that were popularly trafficked?
Panhandle.
So you have been lying there for 38 years. Whenever somebody comes by, you go, nobody will help me in the water. I got no one. Jingle, 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 jingle. That's sad. So you've got people who are lying there that want to be healed, waiting for the Lord, but nothing's happening. And you've got a man who really is invalid. I mean, if you went 1 inch a day crawling, where could you make it in 38 years? So now Jesus' question makes much more sense. Hey, you got a good thing here. I get it. It brings home the beans and the bacon, right? I don't think you're living here on the street, so at some point somebody, you called it, gets you back to wherever you live. It doesn't say he has a tent, he just lies there. How did you arrive and how do you leave? Why don't you have those people when they come to pick you up tonight, toss you in the water? See, that would be change. That would be getting a job and carrying on with your life and no longer being the victim. It would be a very difficult thing if you're stuck. And we've all been stuck. And sometimes we just want to sit and cry, and sometimes we need to. This is not a pull yourself up by the bootstraps moment. It's just sometimes we have to ask ourselves, do we want to be better? Do you want to be well? Do you want to be spiritually well? That means sacrifice. It may mean tilting your shoulders in the right way and having somebody pull you forward a little bit. You may be giving up some things that are keeping you spiritually immature. Do you want to be physically better? Ooh. If we all did the things we knew we were supposed to do, we would look like Greek statues. But as long as there are Krispy Kreme donuts, I'm going to have weaknesses. It's just a part of who I am. I happen to like goodies. So I know that at some point, there's a balance. When I was a kid, I could eat a whole large pizza. Even in college, I would order an 18-inch large pizza for myself. At my age now, after slice 3, I will have such acid reflux. I will be propped up like I am in hospice with all of what it will take for me to survive the night on my stomach. His age has gotten to me. Maybe you feel it on certain things. Do you want to be better? Physically, spiritually, emotionally. You ever know anybody that got emotionally stuck somewhere?
Yes.
Amen.
Sometimes their debt is so great that they just feel trapped. It's in psychology, it's called learned helplessness. This is the way it is. It'll always be this way, and they get stuck. Sometimes we need to call the therapist. We need to call the minister. We may need to call a debt counselor. We may need somebody in our world to make it better. We need help to get unstuck. We work with people in times of grief.
Some of them are stuck in.
They are stuck. It's called complicated grief, and some people just sit in their misery. They don't want to be there. They're not like our beggar who is just deciding to stay in the same place. They don't know how to get out of it. So Jesus' question now makes more sense. Do you want to get well? Jesus knows his heart. He knows the man's heart. As the man makes his excuses, Jesus says something that is startling. And I'm sure everybody else just was like cold water when he shouts it. Because it's with an exclamation point. Well, I can't because the people, they won't help me. The pool, the water is stirred. I can't get to it. And there's somebody always getting in the way and I can't get. And then Jesus just shouts, "Get up!" You know, I've been in a lot of major cities, and you see people that are panhandling. Sometimes they really are. I mean, they're missing limbs. There are things that you can see that they really have. I've never shouted at anybody to do anything different. Even if I know, hey, that guy on the corner may be making more money than all of us. There's studies of how much money somebody can make panhandling. Jesus just yells at him, "Get up." See, it's not like me yelling, because I can't do anything about it. I can yell at people who can't walk all day long to get up. You know what? They can't. This is the Lord. And it was a moment of faith. Because the man could have laid there and never, ever knew that he could get up. The Lord got down eyeball to eyeball with him and tells him, "Get up!" Pick up your mat. Wow, it's multitasking. You not only have to get up, you have to carry stuff while you're doing it. And then walk. What? The man must have felt something. Something that if he had ever been to the water, and I have to believe he had gone to the water. There's just a part of me that believes at some point 38 years ago, he got in the water and got in the water and got in the water. So the only thing he could get out of the water was the traffic that would come by that would fill up his coin cup. I get it. Seems legitimate. You put all your faith, your hope into water. Now Jesus stands before you. He's about to help you get unstuck. The man feels something. I don't know if it's a warmth down in his toes. I don't know if the hair on his legs just kind of stood up like goose pimples, like you get like, whoa, I don't usually feel my legs. I don't know if the muscles that had atrophied suddenly expanded out and he felt it like, oh my goodness, what is that? And suddenly legs that were just shriveled, just... Because I can't believe that in his disabled condition, see, that's just it, he's not disabled. I can see the man casting off his blanket, dropping what's in his hands. Get up, pick up your mat, and walk. Verse 9. At once, the man was cured. He picked up his mat, and he walked. How's that for being unstuck? Is the Lord yelling at you? Are you just splayed out on the floor, waiting for alms, somebody come rescue me? And you can get by on it. Somebody might think to send you the text message. Somebody might call to check on you, and you almost consider it divine intervention. There could be any number of things that you can hear the clink of the coins in our cup. That doesn't get you unstuck, it just gets you by. And it can be as heavy as lead. This is powerful. Because I think sometimes we lay there and we hear the Lord saying, get up! I can't. And what we should say is, I won't. On most occasions when we use the word can't, it often can be replaced with the word won't. You know, when you're trying to do something at a sales transaction, oh, I can't take that back. You mean you won't take that back? Because you can take it back. You just don't want to. If you ever had a car repaired and something's supposed to be under warranty, oh, I'm sorry, we can't do that. You mean you won't do that? I'm calling the manufacturer. Oh, I guess we can do that. It's so frustrating. Do we do that to the Lord? Does He offer us a way and we go, Lord, I can't. I'm too tired. I'm too broken. I can't. That would be a whole different story if this man got into an argument with the Lord, telling him what he can't do. You already laid it out. I can't walk. I can't go down to the water. I can't find people. Apparently I can. See, Jesus knows the whole story, and He tells the man, get up. Because He knows what he really wants. It's not alms for the day. It's not a few shekels. It's not a few widow's mites being dropped in the cup. Dude, you want to walk. You want your life back. You want to be able to see the world, not have it just pass by you. How about you? Are you ready to walk again? Are you ready to see the world, or do you want to stay where you are and just watch it pass by? Yes, indeed. Not my words. They're 2,000 years old. The man gets up and walks. Now, I love the rest of the story. It's for a sermon on another day. Here is truly one of the first miracles at the pool of Bethesda. And do you know what the religious people do? I just want to cry. Would you hold me? Because I want to cry. Because the religious people, they went, that man just got up and walked. Seems like a real miracle. But it's the Sabbath, and we can't do work on the Sabbath, and obviously if you're healing, that's work, and now you've just desecrated everything. By the way, if you do get unstuck, not everybody will be happy for you. As you continue your spiritual journey, hey, I'm going to have spiritual healing. I found new church family. I'm going to be able to breathe again, and I'm going to be able to be accepted and loved and nurtured. There's going to be religious people who don't like that. But guess whose side you should be on. You can either choose all those religious people that get unhappy that you have found your spiritual newness, renewal. You're on the side of Jesus, who's the one providing. Would you pray with me? Father God, it is a prayer of thanksgiving today that you help us get unstuck. You help us to see things more clearly. You give a guidance like no one else. We're thankful that you have a perspective that we don't. That you call us to rise and you see our foibles. Father, don't let anybody in here wait 38 years to be able to spiritually, physically, emotionally move forward. Help us to get unstuck. Father, thank you for each person here. Be with the needs that we have spoken and unspoken. Lifted up in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.